For anyone who's just joined, this is what we're going to be programming today. So this is a sorter. So there's going to be a block that travels down the conveyor, is detected by the vision sensor, and then one of these sorter arms are going to pop out and shove it down the chute. So green one should go, say, the first chute, and the blue one, I think it is, should go down the second chute. Tier portal it is, mate, yes. It does look like fun. It looks like it's going to be tricky, but I did watch Hegermerl the other day. He did it, I think in like a 2-hour live stream, but he did say he could do it pretty quickly if he wasn't explaining it. But he did it in graph, and I don't know graph, so I'm not going to go down that route. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to do the sequencing again. Should we put that in its own block? Let's go for that. Program cycle. We're going to call this sequencer. Sequencer. There we go. Trying to have a bit of organization, but it's no, it's factory IO, mate, not IO factory. So this is factory IO, the simulation software.
Thanks for the
and
follow.
This is Tier Portal. Raze, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so the first thing we need to figure out is when we're in sequence 1, which is basically when there's nothing detected by... That's at exit. That's going that way. So nothing detected by the vision sensor. Okay. And I'm assuming the vision sensor is... How do I... so if I come out of simulation... I think there's a way to see this stuff. All numerical. So it gives out numbers. I don't know which numbers, but we're going to assume it's 0 when there's nothing there. Killian, appreciate that, buddy. Thank you for the Thunder Hammer, and thank you for the Heart Me. Really, really appreciate it, mate. So, vision sensor. Show all tags. Where's my vision sensor? It's not even in the tags. Why is it not in the tags? Vision sensor. Not there. Can I just drag that on? I'll just put it in there. Oh, there we go. I don't know why it didn't bring it down. So it's ID 30. Okay, fair enough. So we're gonna call this vision sensor. That is gonna be %ID 30. Level meter. Ah, I've got the wrong tags. I've imported the wrong tags. One sec. Import. File path. Not last week's. This week's. There we go. ID 30 still is not there though. So let's start again. Vision sensor. Change it to an I, change it to D, set that to 30. Okay, so that should be our vision sensor tag. Let's go to our sequencer. I'm fairly sure I haven't spelled that right. Let me let me rename that. Sequencer. There we go. That's better, I think. Do you see the numbers if you select them? Control C, Control V should work then. Do I see the numbers if I select them? I'm not sure what you're talking about there, Tijan. Just explain that one to me for a sec. Graph is really nice. I can see why he did that. One sequence is split 3 ways for each. Yeah, he made it look real easy, but I know if I tried it, I would fail miserably. So I'm not going to go down that route. It did look good though, actually. I quite enjoyed seeing the graph language, because I don't do anything like that. I tend to stick to ladder, function block diagram, and structured text, and I don't really go near anything else. So, but it was it's born from DCS. Ah, is that right? I can see why that might be. Caesar, thank you to follow, buddy. What does D mean? Double word. Are you talking on the tags? I believe so. I believe so, because it's a dint. They're dints. And where was my vision sensor? That is also a dint. Yeah, it's a double. It is nice to see him back,
Thanks
mate.
for the
It is.
follow.
I years ago when he used to make all his videos, I used to watch him all the time. Yeah, I really like him. No, I don't want that. I want a box. I want it to be equals, I think. No. Oh, it is equals. Double word. Vision sensor. And if we say that's equal to 0, then we go to sequence 1. I need to make a data block. Let's call this one user memory. Ah, that was an OB. Didn't mean to do that. I wanted a data block.
Thanks for the follow.
Data block. Appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you. Dan White, David Simmons, Flashy Nugget. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, he's very good. I think he's a teacher, or he used to be a teacher or something. But you can really tell because he's good at explaining what he does. Am I Hegemel? I'm not Hegemel, mate. No. I'm BTEC Hegemel. I'm Hegemel from Temu, or Hegemel from Wish. Christopher Hepburn, thank you to follow. Appreciate that. Gibran Castillo, I think. Hopefully I said that right. Appreciate the follow. Thank you, mate. So I'm going to call this the sequence. And this is going to be a... I guess it doesn't really matter what it is. It can be a dint. Let's just keep... It can be an int. Let's just make it an int. Let's make it an int. We start at 0. Let's go back to our sequencer. So if the vision sensor is 0, just for now, we're going to build on this. We might change this in the future. I'm going to move. I'm going to put a 1 in sequencer. User memory.sequence. Let's just see if that works for now.
Thanks for the follow.
Hegemel from Wish. Yeah. No, he's good. He's really good. He's a good teacher. Ladder is one of the most useless programming languages. T is one of the dumbest controllers. I mean, G, if you don't like it, buddy, you feel free to just keep scrolling, mate. Lee or Il, I think. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Right, so there's our sequence. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I don't really know what's coming out of that vision sensor. It might be a 1 when there's nothing there. Let's do a stop all load. Yeah, there's a few Siemens heads in here.
Thanks for the follow.
Appreciate the follow. Thank you, James Garnett. Use Beckhoff and ST language instead. I've never really used Beckhoff, mate. I don't know it very well. I'm trying to learn Siemens at the minute. I don't really know Siemens that well either, to be fair. So I tend to use Mitsubishi and Schneider PLCs. The only languages I do really know are ladder, function block diagram, and structured text. So, I wrote that down. I did. We're getting a big fat nothing, but that might be because we're not getting a 0 out of our vision sensor. What are we getting out of our vision sensor? That's, I guess, the first thing. Let's set that to run. Have you experienced with OPC UA servers? No, not really, mate. I'm aware of them, but I've never really had to do anything with them. That's definitely a 0. Yeah, I haven't, mate. What is the program? So this program is Siemens TIA Portal, and this program is Factory IO. No, let's keep it running. So we get a 0 when there's nothing there. I think I can manually move that. If I put that underneath. Oh, wrong one. Then we get a 5. Interesting. So when I run that, I'm looking I'm looking for the motor to spin. I haven't even set the motor up yet. Have you ever done any course on PLC programming self-taught? So I have done a couple of courses, a couple of like formal ones with training centres, but I have also done one on Udemy which I can recommend, and that was when I wanted to look into Rockwell a little bit more, Allen Bradley PLCs. So I took a course by a guy called Paul Lin, He actually has his own website where I think you can find it cheaper than it is on Udemy. If you Google search PLC Dojo, it's a good course. He's a good teacher. Yeah, it's decent.
Thanks for the follow.
Eric, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. One of the biggest flaws of tier is that you cannot program in object-oriented way. I feel like you can. I feel like if you you create your data blocks right and you create some like function blocks and stuff like that,
Thanks for the
I
follow.
don't see why you couldn't. Nilo, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Okay, so I was being dumb. We've set up the sequence, obviously. So there is going to be a 1 in there, I believe. In the sequence, there is. So let's go back to our main. This is where we're going to start. What's it called? What are we calling this one? Entry conveyor. Okay. We're going to start the entry conveyor. I also believe you get user-defined data types. You can make your own data types and stuff. So yeah, I don't see why you couldn't do object-oriented stuff. Andrew, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. Excuse me. Okay, so if we are in equals, this is sequencer. No, it's user memory sequence. And if that's in 1, then we're going to run the entry conveyor. Let's run that. See if we can get something. Yeah, I mean, there's not just function blocks though. I'm not just talking about that. There's user-defined data types, data blocks, and that sort of thing. You can make your own. You know, you can make up a motor of different data types and that sort of thing. I don't see any reason why Siemens tier portal wouldn't be able to do anything that Beckhoff TwinCat can do. Okay, let's run that. Reset that even on pause. Right, okay, so we've got the conveyor running. So hopefully that should stop. It doesn't stop. It should stop when we get... Oh, we haven't moved it on, that's why. So we're always stuck in sequence 1. That's fine, that's fine. We haven't done our other sequences yet. Well, we're making progress. There's we've got the conveyor moving. I'll tell you what else we need. We need to also press the start button for this to happen. So, sequencer. Let's add a contact. Appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you. Anyone who's liking, sharing, following, all that good stuff. Thank you, thank you. Have you ever used Toyopuk? I haven't, mate. No, I haven't. I haven't even heard of it, to be fair. Toyota. Do you mean Toyota? Or is that actually a company, Toyota? Yeah, I'm not sure. I am there. This is version 20, mate. Yeah. I think 21's about to come out, if I'm not mistaken. Right, so this wants to be start. No, in fact, I don't want to do the start button here. I'll do that in the main. I'll do that at the top as well. Let's come out of that. Can I insert? No, not really. Can I drag? I think I can. Yeah, there we go. Do a standard latch start. That's stop, but it's a normally closed button usually, so normally open on the logic. Let's call this one. In fact, I need to make. Where's my user memory? Add. Insert. In fact, I didn't even have to insert a row. There was a row there. Let's call this one process start. That can be a ball. That's fine. This is going to be user memory dot process start. Yeah, 21's coming.
Thanks for the follow.
Do you know anything new that's coming with it? Is there anything outstanding that's worth upgrading for? User memory. Process start. Tommy, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. How's everyone doing tonight? There's it's been a long week for me. I'm glad to see the weekend. I'm still on 18. Let me know where when you get the chance. Yes, we'll do, buddy. We'll do. Right, so there's our process start. So that's what we're going to use in our sequence. So if the vision sense is 0 and we have process start,
Thanks for the follow.
that's when we start. We go into user memory. I always forget this with the data blocks. User memory, process start. Do you have a chance to learn this? Yeah, buddy. I mean, if you watch this live, I'm sure you'll pick up some stuff. Watch my previous videos, you'll pick up some stuff. All my previous lives in full are on YouTube. So there's like 2 hours plus some videos where all I'm doing is PLC programming and that sort of thing. And, you know, you will pick it up. What's the software? How do you get into this? So the software is called Factory IO. And this software is a simulation software designed for factory automation and that sort of thing. And what it provides is a set of simulated motors, simulated push buttons, simulated sensors, actuators, all that sort of thing. And it allows you to hook up to, connect to a PLC and basically test your program, your ladder logic, your structured text, whatever you've programmed in. Do you work mainly with hardware or software, a bit of both? I do a bit of both, mate. Yeah, so my actual job title is design engineer. So most of the time I'm actually designing control panels and LV switchgear. But I also do the programming side as well. So once we've manufactured the panel, I'll go over into the workshop and do the functional testing, the programming, that sort of thing. Can I find this for free? You probably can if you're good at Googling, mate, but it is a licensed product, so I'll leave it at that. How can I get in the field? You can get in the field by doing an apprenticeship if you're still fairly young. You can get in like a factory apprenticeship or something, or work for like a system integrator. If you're a little bit older, your routes are a little bit more limited, but if you're, say, like an electrician, I know there's plenty of factories out there that are looking for industrial electricians or electricians to train into industrial electricians. From there, you've got your foot in the door and you can, you know, start to progress into the software side and the PLC side. When you do maintenance, you're going to be working with this sort of stuff. Not from scratch like I am now, but you'll be modifying programs, which can be easier in fairness. There's a lot of guys who know how to modify programs, but maybe necessarily can't start them from scratch. So yeah, it's just all about baby steps, building up. Yeah, I feel like 23, you're definitely perfect age for an apprenticeship. I know there's a lot of companies around me that don't necessarily like to pick up guys and girls straight from school because they're a little bit more immature. They want someone who's got a little bit of life experience about them. So 23 is perfect. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the engineer. I mean, they've got to learn, and they're not very useful at the beginning. That's the problem with apprentices. They just have no real skill or anything, so it's difficult to actually get them doing something useful until they've kind of got past that stage. They've been around a little while. They've seen a few things, and they've made, you know, the cups of tea and they've sweeped up and that sort of thing. Where am I based? In the UK, buddy. In the UK.
Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, sorry, Elvis. I get busy talking. Right, so we're going to move into process 1. It should be when I press the start button. Let me just double check that because I feel like it didn't do that. No. So I'm not pressing the start button, but you can see the motor's running. So let me just pause that a second. Let's figure out why. I haven't downloaded it. I think that's the reason why. Vanessa, thank you to follow. Engineer Chimsy, thank you to follow. Kevin, thank you to follow. Alexander, thank you to follow. Appreciate it, guys. I do apologise. I was rambling on there. LV, yes, low voltage, mate, yes. How do you interface with TIA Portal and Factory IO? You use something called PLC Sim. So if you've got PLC Sim, which you should have at least the basic PLC Sim, I believe. You go to online, you go to simulation, you go to start. You do also need the template program for Factory IO, but in Factory IO you set the driver to PLC Sim, and by doing that they'll start talking. But like I say, you do need the template program from the Factory IO website, because it has in it, where is it? This function here, FC9000. This does a load of stuff in the background to basically get it to work. So you do need this function, and you get that from the template program. Right, okay. I downloaded that. So if we press run now, unpause, nothing happens until I press. Can you see that okay? Yeah. The start button. There we go. If I press the stop button, what happens? It still carries on. So we'll do that next. Let's go to back to tier. Let's go to a sequencer. How do we want to do this? How do we want to do this? So if process starts on, we chuck the 1 in. I'm gonna ignore the stop button for now, because I feel like I need to do that at the end. Else I'm gonna end up getting it a bit messy with the logic. Okay, so we started the entry conveyor. Once we see, so go back in sequencer. Let me zoom in a little bit for you as well. Once the vision sensor sees, which way do we want to do it? Do we want to be specific about it, or do we just want to say it above 0? I feel like we say above 0 for now. I think we want to go that way.
Thanks
so.
For the follow.
Set this to D word. I feel like it wants to be didn't. I don't know why that's a D word. Because my vision sensor tag is a
Thanks for the
didn't.
follow.
It is. So I don't want that. Appreciate the follows, guys. I do apologize. I'm trying to not stop now, because I stopped there for a little while. Thank you for the follows though. No name. Yes, I am. Yeah, that's right. Yorkshire, mate. North Yorkshire. Right. So when the vision sensor isn't 0 anymore, then we're gonna move to sequence 2. Yeah. I get what you're saying, Ash. So we're going to move to sequence 2 there. If we're no longer seeing 0, that means that basically when there's nothing underneath this vision sensor, it's given a 1. It's given a 0, sorry. If there is something under the sensor, so it's not 1 anymore, not 0. Jesus, I don't know. I don't know why I keep saying 1. When it's not 0 anymore, we know something's there. We're then gonna go into stage 2 or sequence 2, and at that point we'll decide which one of these sorters is gonna pull over the side. Right. Tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do, if I can. I can't. I'm gonna add you, Ash, as a moderator. And also the engineer, if he's here. And if you have the time, just explain to some people what the software is and stuff. The software is Factory IO, and this is Siemens Tier Portal. User memory, sequence, and the communication's done by PLC Sim. So this is Factory IO. This is Tier Portal, and I think I might just be a little bit too far zoomed in there. Hang on a second. There we go, that's about right. Right, we're going to sequence 2 then. And once we're in sequence 2, we want to stop the conveyor. So at this point, what's the best way to do this? I'd rather not break into it there. We might have to. So, oh, it will stop itself because we're out of sequence 1. That's okay. Let's just run that because I want to see what happens. I feel like it should stop. Appreciate the follows, guys. How do you do that? I just mean Yeah, if anyone, I don't know, if anyone's asking any questions that you know the answer to, just help me out if you can, if that's okay. Are there any free programs for S7200? I don't know about S7200s, to be fair, mate. They're a little bit old school now, I think. They're out of, what's the word? They're kind of gone out of production and that sort of thing now. Is it set by height? The value that comes out is nothing to do with height, but there is like a cone. So I haven't built this. I can build my own. But you can see, I guess the higher I make it, you know, if I was to make that higher, the cone would get bigger. The shorter it is, the cone would get smaller. You know, there's a load of, let me see if I can grab this. There's an absolute stack of parts on the side, so I could build my own conveyor belts. You know, anything to do with factory automation, really. Elevators, that sort of thing, tanks. I could build my own if I wanted to, but I'm just using the already, you know, the pre-built scenes that come with the software. Right, let's run that. I think I downloaded it. I can't even remember now. Must not have, because it hasn't stopped. Ah, load. There we go. I didn't. Yeah, obsolete. They're available from China. Are they really, Ash? Oh, Sedgley. I didn't know that. I did not know that. By Siemens or like from AliExpress are you talking about? It's still not stopping. Let me just watch this a second. Sequencer. Let me watch this. Let me restart. Wrong one. 0 0 0 0. No longer 0, but still running. I must have gone the wrong way with that. Oh, I've minimized that now. Is that must be the right way? Is it vision sensors on the left, zeros on the right? I thought it was the other way around. Appreciate that, Ash. Thank you, Sedgley. Right, load that now. I got the brackets the wrong way around. Like I say, guys, I'm still learning Tia Portal myself, so I don't know the ins and outs of it yet. Right, that's loaded in now, so it should now stop. I've got to press the start button.
Thanks for the follow.
Appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you, thank you. Right, so it stopped. That's good. So now at this point is where we would make the decision as to what chute it's going to go down. So let's decide now which one's which. Let's make green. No, let's make green 2. I'm thinking RGB, but there isn't a red, so I can't do the R bit. But let's make green the middle, blue the right-hand side. How rough is learning Tia Portal coming from AB? So I don't know AB that well either, to be fair, mate. I use Mitsubishi and Schneider. There is a learning curve. There definitely is a learning curve, mate. But you know, PLC programming. It's ladder at the end of the day. The logic's all the same. It's little things like I didn't know what way bracket that should have been, because to me it's not clear in this software which is left and which is right. In Mitsubishi, the way you would do that is you would write the bracket in a box, then you would put the value that's on the left of the bracket and then the value that's on the right of the bracket. This is above and below, so to me that doesn't instantly make sense in my head which way is which. But obviously that is the way. Top is the left, bottom is the right. Okay. Of the bracket I'm talking about, of the bracket. So we make a decision now. This is where we're gonna jump sequence if needs be. So let's go for, I feel like we've done process start. Maybe I need to add that in every time. Let's do that. Let's add that. Let's just keep it added in just for simplicity's sake. Alan Bradley won't let you compile loops or incorrect code. Siemens doesn't care. I mean, it gives me plenty of errors, Tom. I seem to be doing a good job of making sure it's not compiled. Appreciate everyone who's liking, reposting. Yeah, Mike Miller, I love Mitsubishi too. Sedgley Control Systems would say otherwise. He's a Siemens guy who's been doing a lot of Mitsubishi this week, and he's not a fan of Mitsubishi, I'm thinking. Okay, so process start, vision sensor equals 5 was green. So if 5 in there, we're going to move to, let's say that's sequence 3. And I don't know what the blue color is yet. Let's figure out what the blue color is. So let me just throw that away. Let me pause this, throw that away. You can do that. It seems to be stuck. Oh, it's because I've paused it. Let me throw that one away. All I want to know is what color it is when it's blue. What the value of the sensor is when it's blue. So let's look at... If I just run this now, I feel like I should see it. If I go in live mode. Can't go in live mode because I've edited stuff. Okay, well let's download it then. I learned in the field, but there are plenty of courses and books. Yeah, I totally agree, mate. I know we live in a 21st century world, and books are kind of, old school way of doing things, but there's some really good information in books. I definitely recommend picking up some second-hand books, I would say, because some of the brand new books are just crazy prices. Superman, thank you for the follow, buddy. Appreciate it. Barack, thank you for sharing the live. Cal B, thank you for sharing the live as well. Okay, let's go into live view. So we're getting a 1. So if blue is under the sensor gives a 1. So 5 is green, 1 is blue. That's what I need to know. And from that, I can basically copy that whole network, actually. Paste it in there. Oh, don't know why it did that. Delete that one out. And we say if that's 1, then we're going to sequence 4. Sequence 3 is going to be basically closing the green gate. Sequence 4 is going to be closing the blue gate. And what I mean by that is sequence 3 is going to be closing that, so it's pushing the green blocks down here. Sequence 4 is pushing the blocks down here. I don't want to start this motor again. Do I? I want to start it for a very short amount of time. Let's just run with it. Let's run with it. So main. If we're in sequence 3, that's going to be our green. Let's call this green. Salt green. Let's call it salt green. So, if we're in user memory sequence.
Thanks for the follow.
Appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. Dr. Sonder, Zach Payne. You shared the live. Thank you, Zach. Really appreciate it. Lectivas. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the follow.
We people. Thank you to follow. So if we're in sequence 3, this is where we're going to sort the green out. And what we're going to do...
Thanks for the follow.
...is... So I'm thinking now. Is this going to cause us issues?
Thanks for the follow.
So what I'm thinking is, the sequencer... We would be in
Thanks for the follow.
the third sequence, but the minute the block moves out of range of the vision sensor, it's going to try and shoot back to sequence 1.
Thanks for the follow.
Which isn't good. So... The vision sensor 0. Maybe we say and what's the best way of doing this? I'm sort of thinking about it. We've got a sensor here at exit. Maybe we just don't shoot back to 1. We only allow it to go from 0 to 1. This is me just thinking out loud, guys. Oh, the engineer's not a fan of Mitzi, but you haven't even touched it yet, mate, so you don't even know yet. You don't know the struggles of Mitzi, but the trials and tribulations, because it's also glorious. Right. I'm thinking in my head. So, I could just program this knowing full well that the minute this block leaves this sensor, it's going to try and shoot back to sequence 1. And then before it's even got a chance to go down the chute, the arm's going to retract and this conveyor is going to stop. I'm sort of thinking of what's the best way to prevent that. And I'm thinking, what am I thinking? I almost need to latch up the sequence so that it doesn't go to any other sequence until this exit conveyor, at exit sensor, sorry, has triggered. Okay, so let's say we can't go into 1 when we're in 3. This will all make sense once once I do the program. In fact, let me just run with it, because I know what's going to happen, but if I run with it, then you guys will understand what I'm waffling on about as well. I seem to have a notification. Don't show again. Go away. Okay, so yeah, sequence 3, we're going to start up the entry motor again. We are also going to do sorter 2 turn. I guess I need to run sorter 2 belt as well. Let's go for that. Sorter 2 turn, sorter 2 belt. So we're in sequence 3. Sorter. Well, that's interesting. Sorter 2 belt. And we also want... that's not what I wanted. Want that there.
Thanks for the follow.
Sorter. I keep forgetting to put the quotation marks at the front. Sorter 2 turn. So if we're in sequence 3, put both of them on. Also put on exit conveyor. So here I guess we'd do it again. So we're going to put 3 things on at the same time when we're in sequence 3. I also kind of need to jog entry conveyor, because I need to get the block off here onto here. So maybe we just do a timer for that. I haven't thought about any of this beforehand, by the way. Even AliExpress won't sell Mitzi, scared of the backlash. AliExpress is full of Mitzi. You're going to order one and then Wednesday happen. Do you have sensors at each sorter? I don't know, it's a common sensor. But this is also how I did it when I built my one. So I just had I used infrared LEDs. So I had an infrared LED there and an infrared transistor on this side.
Thanks for the follow.
So it's kind of strange to see how this has been done, because it's very similar to the one that I built. Obviously I did mine with an ESP32, not a PLC or anything. There was no industrial sensors. I had a colour sensor instead of a vision sensor.
Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, and I also didn't have 2 conveyors. I just had 1. The motor just stopped when I was reading it. Appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you.
Follow.
So we're going to turn them on. I think this isn't going to work, because I think that the minute this block leaves that sensor, we're going to shoot back to sequence 1. But for now, let's just continue. I want to show you what I'm talking about as well. There's a bit much going on this sequence, but I'm going to add a timer. A ton. Let's call this the entry jog timer green. That's a mad name, I do know. We're going to make that T hash. Let's just do 1500 ms for now. I don't know how long it needs to be on for. That's also capital MS. Don't need to worry about the ET. when it's done. Oh, in fact, do we want a timer on? I'm thinking. Do we want a timer on? Yeah, let's just do it on the next line. Okay. Let's do contact. Entry jog timer green dot q, and I want that to be normally closed. And then I want. Oh, it's getting a bit. It's messy. But I'm just running with it. It doesn't matter. We're gonna do jog entry.
Thanks for the follow.
I don't know why I keep spelling it jog. Jog entry motor. Conveyor. It's a better word. Explains it better. Jog entry conveyor. We need to define that. I'll define that in... I need to use a memory in front of it. Jog entry conveyor. There we go. That can be a boolean. That's fine. Let's go back to here. Let's put in front of it user memory. Appreciate that. Thank you, Professor Butler. How are you tonight, buddy? Appreciate that, mate. Thank you. I just need to scroll down that. User memory dot jog entry conveyor. So I've just made a bit there, which is basically going to go in parallel to this, because we only want it on for a short period of time. Appreciate it. Thank you, Professor Butler. You can drag and... Oh, sorry, I've not been reading the comments. How are we doing in UK? All good, buddy. All good. There's a bit of a storm going on outside, but all good, thank you, mate. How are yourself? You can drag and drop from the details window, bottom left. Ah, I didn't know that. That's good to know. Thank you. User memory. Dot. Jog entry conveyor. That's just going to jog it for a second and a half for now. We might need to play with this timer. Let's download that. I feel like it's going to... I don't feel like this is going to work.
Thanks for the follow.
Yes, so it is a paid software. You do need to buy to your portal. You also need to buy Factory IO. Although, with anything, it depends how good you are at Googling. I would say, I'll leave it at that. Hey bro, can we work on a real project together? PM, I would love to, mate. But honestly, I've got a full-time job. I spend a lot of time making TikTok videos. I just don't have the time, buddy. And I've also got family that I need to be there for. So that, yeah, time's short, I'm afraid. But I appreciate that you would want to. Thank you, mate. Night Show, thank you for the follow, buddy. Okay, so this didn't work. Let's see where we got caught up. So what I wanted to see was it going to sequence 3. Oh, shouldn't have double clicked that. We're in sequence 2. The vision sensor. Why is the vision sensor giving me a 2 now? I swear when I put the blue under it, it was 1. Interesting. Let me try 2 then. You need to retrofit a tube bending machine. There's a company not far from me who make tube bending machines. I believe they're quite big in that field as well. They're quite a famous company, I think, for tube bending. But I unfortunately know nothing about that. I've never worked there. Don't really know anything about it. Jasad, I'm doing well, thank you, mate. How are you? Right, let's go into view. Let me restart. I'm suspicious as to why it showed 2 there instead of 1. I bet this is showing 1. I think, is it a lids and base thing? The base shows a 1, or the lid shows a 1 and the base shows a 2. I bet it's that. I just want to go by colours. I don't really care. Oh no, it's showing 2. Ah, we haven't programmed sequence 4 yet. Okay. Right. But all we're doing for sequence 4 is the same as what we've done for sequence 3, but it's for the blue ones. So we're going to sort blue this time. Sort blue. We want to turn on sort of belt 1. Sort of turn 1. Exit conveyor is okay. Ah, I don't want that coil in 2 places. I'll make a bit for that. So, as a rule of thumb, I'll never use a coil more than once. I know it is possible, but it's a bad idea. You should never really do it. So we're just going to make a user memory bit for this, and we're going to call this exit. What should we call it? Blue exit and green exit. Green exit conveyor. Let's just call it that. My naming schemes are terrible. I do apologise. Exit conveyor. Okay, when will you stream or make a series for basic PLC beginners? I probably could do that. I probably could do something like that. I haven't really thought about it. I'll be honest, I kind of just go with the flow when I come on the streams. I have a rough idea of what I want to do, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work like that. But I probably could do a basic series where we just go through the very, very basics. Like just down to normally open, normally closed, maybe a little bit on analog. I'll think about that maybe for next weekend, mate. Yeah. Make a playlist. So what I do, PM, is after every live stream, maybe a day or two after, I put the entirety of the live stream on YouTube. So if you've missed anything, or you join right near the end, you can go back and watch the full live stream. So that'll be on YouTube, and I do tend to put like clips and stuff from the live streams on throughout the week, if they make sense though. Some of them, you know, some clips don't make the cut. You've got Tier Portal version 15. Would it work with Factory IO? I believe it would. I believe so. Wearies. I think so. I had no idea that people would want to watch this. Kinda want to stream my daily work now. I was the same, mate. I was totally the same. I didn't think this would, you know, there's 69 people in here. I've had streams where I've had like 150. It's wild. I don't know myself, but I enjoy this stuff. You know, I can't be the only one in the world, so yeah, maybe there is a little bit of a market for it. I don't think you're going to be buying any Ferraris anytime soon or anything like that. But yeah, nice. It's cool that people do show up and watch. Right, this is going to be... So this is sequence 3, which I haven't changed it yet. So that wants to be sequence 4. This is blue. I'm going to call this user memory blue exit conveyor. And I think what helps is the fact I don't really know Siemens that well myself. And I'm kind of learning a lot of the stuff as I go. And when I learn something new, I try and explain it. Arise, thank you to follow. Barak, thank you for sharing the live again, mate. I really appreciate that. How do you test that? So I'll show you 1 second. We will test this logic in a second. So 2 green. I'll just need to make a line for... So there's the entry conveyor.
Thanks for the follow.
Let me shift network 5 up and we'll make that... How do I do that? It's going to go... There we go. Let's put that below the entry. So we've got 2 contacts here. We've got user memory, blue exit, and in parallel to that, we've got user memory, green exit. So the reason I've done it this way is because I don't like to have the same coil more than once in a program. And this is my actual output. So exit conveyor, was it? Yeah, that's it. So I've got 2 times where I need to run that output. So what I was about to do, what I didn't realize, was I had the output coil, so %Q0.2, I had that there, and I also had it there. But that's bad, you shouldn't do that. So I pulled it out, and I made memory bits for them. Yeah, me too. I don't understand it myself, but we'll run with it. You seen some... I've seen the guy with a wheelbarrow dancing on the bed. I'm not... Yeah. Entertainment's a weird place, because there's some things that it just blow my mind how they're popular. I don't know. Okay, so let's write that down. I think we're good to write that. We need to reinitialize, load it in. K-Hole, appreciate that, mate. Thank you, buddy. Hope you're well tonight. Does Tia not do latching bits? It does, but I don't like latching bits. I try not to use them. I always try and make my own latches up. And a good example of this was about 2 weekends ago. I was explaining why I didn't like to use set resets. Then I used one because it kind of made a little bit of sense to use one, and then I just couldn't work out why it wasn't working. It's because I wasn't resetting it or something. I can't really remember the full details, but if it's in here, I can see it, and I can see why it's either on or why it's not on. If there's a set and reset, set right at the top, a reset right at the bottom, or wherever, it's very difficult to keep track of it. I guess the idea is you probably keep them next to each other, but any programs I've seen done by other people that use set reset, they're normally all over the place, and there's multiple resets, multiple sets, and it's just an absolute nightmare. I hate it. So that's the reason I don't personally use them, but they do exist. I think if I double click on that, there's R, there's S, that's for set reset. Not entirely sure what set BF and reset BF are. Sedgley, you might know that. P is for positive transition, I guess. N is for negative transition, or negative edge and positive edge. PT and RT, I'm not sure what they are. Yeah, I'm not sure what they are. Is there a reason why you don't connect the coil to the timer output? You use Q as a... because it just allows me to use a ton timer. Again, these are like the thing with the set reset. That's just me personally. That's something I don't like to do. But I also only try to use ton timers. And I would have needed a TOF, I think. I don't know. By doing it this way, it allows me to use a normally closed. I don't think you can change that Q to like a not Q or anything like that. So that's the reason why I didn't put it. I could have just put it there. That'll work, you know. That's fine to do that, but it wouldn't work how I wanted it to. I needed it to be a normally closed, which then opens after the time. So that's why I've done it that way.
Thanks for the follow.
Set bit fields. I'm not sure what that means. I guess. Appreciate the follow, Unicoin, I think. Sandvik, thank you for the follow. Natawut, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Hello, bro. Are the softwares open source? Robert, they're not, unfortunately. So, I'm not going to let you join as a guest, buddy. Sorry. So this is called Factory.io. This is a licensed software. This one's called Siemens Tia Portal. This is also a licensed software. I did a few not necessarily open source, but I did a few free softwares the other weekend. CodeSys, OpenPLC. We've used, what else have we used? Schneider Zeliosoft 2, I've used that. I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think I've used Machine Expert Basic yet. But that's another free one. I also haven't used TwinCat. I've never really used TwinCat, but I also believe that's free. You can set a series of bits from a start bit. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, okay. That's why the BF coil does sets bit field. Right. Yeah. I understood what you meant, Caleb. I guess I didn't know what it did. I think that's what I was getting at. BMS software, please EcoStructure. I don't do BMS, Khan. Yeah, I don't do BMS, I'm afraid, mate, so I couldn't help you there. Right, let's run this. Press start. So we'll go into sequence 1 at the moment. This gets red. We go into sequence 4. Not a lot happened. Why not? We're still in sequence 2. Why did we not go into 4? We've got a 3 now. This vision sensor is giving me a headache. So I've seen it give a 1 on a blue. I've seen it give a 2 on a blue. Now I'm seeing it give a 3 on the blue. The only thing I can think of is the shape. It's got to do with the shape of it. So maybe we need to work out the shapes first. So that was a 3. I've seen it be 1, 2, and 3 so far. There's another 1. Let's throw that out. This green one should be a 5 unless it's different. It's actually a 6. Okay. I just need to check the sensors because it's not. I keep getting stuck otherwise. 3 for blue. Okay, so far I've seen blue be 1, 2, and 3. I've seen green be 5 and 6. They both look the same shape, so I'm assuming that's a 6 as well. Yep. What's this now? What colour is it? So 4. So 4, 5, and 6 are green. 1, 2, and 3 are blue. Okay, so we need to change it up a little bit. Easiest way to do that, I guess, is if it's between X, Y, and Z. Okay, so if it's 0, there's nothing there. That's fine. If it's above 0, we go into sequence 2. That's also fine. Appreciate the follow, Luke. Thank you, mate. You're quite good with Tier Portal and learning CodeSys. Can you connect CodeSys TwinCat to Factory IO? I believe you can, mate. So you would have to use Modbus TCP for that. I'm using PLC Sim at the minute. There are some drivers for Allen Bradley. Let me press the drivers button first. 1 second. Oh. I broke everything. 1 minute, 1 minute. So you can see these drivers here. There's a few for Allen Bradley. There's a few for Siemens. But then you get OPC UA or Modbus TCP. So you'd probably have to use one of those two. I'm not entirely sure what Autumn Gen Server, Control IO, and MHJ are. Unless those controllers you mentioned do those. It would probably have to be Modbus TCP or OPC UA. Right. Sorry, let me just go back. So,
thanks for the follow.
That's okay. Appreciate the follow. Thank you very much for that, Jason. Luke, thank you for sharing the live, mate. I really appreciate that. So this wants to be between, what did I say, 4, 5, and 6. So if vision sensor is greater greater than or equal to 4, and less than or equal to 4, 5, 6, I said, yeah. So if we're in that range, it will go to sequence 3. If we are greater or equal to 1 and less than or equal to 3, we go to 4. I believe that should work. Yeah, I want to know that as well, Ash. When are you going to be putting up more videos, mate? Are you going to do some tomorrow? Oh, okay, that's good. I shared the shit out of your last video, so I was hoping to get you some more followers. I don't know how well it worked. I haven't checked since, but yeah. Okay, so we've downloaded. Appreciate the follow. Thank you to even. Lee Collins, thank you for the share, mate. Really appreciate that, buddy. Darrell X12, thank you. Right, the start button's not working again. I need to look at that in a minute. Right, that has worked. The conveyor hasn't jogged for some reason. The entry conveyor. Let me just pause that a second. Baby steps, that's what it's all about. Baby steps. I know some people can write a whole program and it will just work, and then, you know, they've got a great brain for it. I'm a baby steps guy. Put the logic in, test it. It doesn't work, fix it. Put more program in, test it. It doesn't work, fix it. Put more program in. It does work. Carry on, put more program in. That's how I work. Oh good. That's good to hear, mate. Yeah, if everyone could share, that would be really appreciated. Really appreciated. Thank you. How can I find this program? It's called Siemens Tier Portal, and the other one is Factory IO. Just give them a Google. Okay, so we're in sequence 3. My entry conveyor was not turning on, which is this one. It's this one, in fact, because we're in sequence 3. Jog entry conveyor. This hasn't started. 0 milliseconds. What am I missing? PT's there. T hash. Does it have to be a capital T? Maybe it has to be a capital T, I'm thinking. Let's quickly write that. Appreciate the follow, user 142. Thank you.
Thanks for the follow.
I'm missing something basic. That isn't timing out whatsoever. I don't think I need anything there, so it shouldn't be that. Maybe I have to put that on its own. I'm not sure. The inputs is latched. Not sure what you mean there, mate. You were using the DB for time on twice. Am I? I am, you're right. Because I copy and pasted it. Idiot! I apologise. Yeah, you're right. I do need to... can I just redo that? No. That actually wants to be blue as well. So if I do this, it should come up, tell me it isn't a thing. And then I can define it, possibly. Maybe. I was expecting that to come up. Alright. We'll delete it out. You're right. I copy and pasted it. So I nearly just did it again there. How do I just redo that? Get rid of one of the speech marks. Okay. Ah, yes. It doesn't like that. That's better. Thank you, mate. Thank you. Appreciate that. So this is blue. Yes, it is blue. That makes sense. That makes sense. I was using the same timer twice. You're not allowed to do that. I'd forgot that I'd copied and pasted it. I changed everything else, but I'd left that the same. Okay, that's good. Just put 1.5 seconds, it should accept it. Maybe it does, I don't know. I've just assumed that I need to put it into milliseconds if I want a half second. Right, we've run that. Appreciate all the comments, by the way. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice to do PLC programming when there's 53 other people in we are. Do I need to press the start button now? Did I not run? What's going on? Whoops. Don't want to do that. Sequence 4. Start and stop. Oh, I mean pause, that's why. Here we go. Still not much joy on that. So, that's blue. This is green. This is the one that should be timing out. It does look like it has timed out, in fairness. Jog entry conveyor. Jog entry conveyor. I'm using that twice as well a bit, aren't I? This is why you don't copy and paste, guys. This is why this should have been a function block, and I should have just used the function block twice. There we go. Copy and pasting is bad. So jog entry conveyor, blue and green. That's what we need to call it. Details. I think you said something about details. It's not showing up. We'll just add it. So that's going to be called green. We'll leave that one as is. Add another boolean. Jog entry conveyor blue. I don't know what it is, but when I go in live stream, I don't do things the way I normally would. So I would probably function block a lot of this and just reuse the function block. I don't know if the pressure gets to me in front of people or what, but I always just seem to do copy and pasting. Error found, that's because I haven't actually changed it yet. Let's just bin all that off. Jog entry user memory. User memory, that's what I'm looking for. User memory dot.
Thanks for the follow.
Jog entry conveyor blue. That should be green. That's right. Let's double check. Yeah, I've got another copy there. Copy and pasting is bad, guys. Don't do it. Appreciate that, Sophie, and thank you. I did catch that. Is there anything else? I think that's everything. Yeah, I think that's everything. Appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you. Right, let's get this running now. Reinitialize. Baby steps. Slow and steady wins the race.
Thanks for the follow.
Start it all again. On pause. Now I need to press my start button. Right. It hasn't jogged. Why hasn't it jogged? Or did it not jog enough? Should be this one. It has timed out. So maybe it's just not long enough. 1 second, 500 milliseconds. I thought that would be long enough in fairness. Exit conveyor. Green, blue. Blue exit conveyor. Ah. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Hang on. It's all gone Pete Tong. Could you please say the name for this program? It's called Factory
Thanks
IO.
for the follow.
Appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you. It's called Factory IO, and this particular program we're looking at now is Siemens TIA portal. Entry conveyor. Jog green. I haven't put the blue in. There we go. Right. This wants to be blue. Jog entry conveyor. Do I not have a blue one? Jog entry conveyor blue. That just didn't show up. Unless I've spelled it wrong. Probably have spelled it wrong. Okay, let's download that. Hopefully it'll work now. But I am still aware. No, it won't, because I've got an issue somewhere. Where be my issue? Here, because I'm an idiot. There we go. I'm still aware there is going to be an issue. Once we get past this point, I just need to get the entry conveyor to jog. I'm thinking the minute the part leaves the sensor's range, then we're going to go shoot back to sequence 1. It's in the back of my mind that that's going to happen. Unpause. There we go. Have you tried working with any other PLC brands? Are there any better ones than Siemens? Yeah, so that did happen. That was what I was expecting to happen. The minute the sensor leaves the sensor range, we go back to 0. That just absolutely yeeted that across the room. I don't know if you've seen that there. So I thought that was going to happen. And to go back to your question, JP Morgan, I use Mitsubishi a lot. I prefer Mitsubishi myself. I also prefer Schneider. It's not to say Siemens is bad, it's just I'm not used to it. It's very different to what I'm used to. I just prefer those, yeah. Adam, thank you to follow. Appreciate that, buddy. Salvador, thank you to follow. Aggie Hazy, I think, thank you to follow. Okay, so now we need to deal with the problem that I've kind of been expecting to come. I think the way to do it is we just don't allow you to go back to sequence 1 if we're in sequence 3 or 4. I think that's the way to do it. And I guess you don't get this problem if you do it in graph. If you do it in graph language, you wouldn't get this problem because you're already down the sequence by this point. You've already split and you've gone down a route, you know, you've gone down, I don't know what the correct term is, but you're no longer in, you know, you can't go back on itself unless you program it to. What's made me use Siemens? I guess I just wanted to learn it again. I'm aware, you know, you've got to be aware of what's popular and what isn't, because, you know, there's nothing to say that tomorrow I might come across 5, you know, I might get 5 jobs where I'm using a Siemens PLC. I want to be prepared for that. Siemens is by far the most popular in the UK, in Europe, full stop. And even though I don't use it, that's, you know, it'd be a bad idea for me to basically, I guess, ignore it. I think that's the right word. So that I want to learn it. I might not use it for a long time, but I want to learn it at least. Also, I just get a lot of comments about Siemens stuff all the time. So whenever I show Mitsubishi, everyone's like, that's shit, get Siemens, blah, blah, blah. I thought I'd, you know, give the people what they want for a little while. But at some point, I am going back to Mitsubishi. James Fryer, thank you for the follow. So what I'm going to say here is if we're not in 3 or 4. I think that's what I'm thinking. If we're not in 3 and we're not in 4, then we're good to go into 1. once the exit conveyor is triggered on the negative edge, I think that's when we go back to 1. So that would be in parallel here, I'm thinking. In fact, I'd probably in parallel with everything. That's how I'm going to do it. Siemens is getting used more in automotive here in Texas. I hear Siemens is doing pretty well over there. But I feel like you're just never going to kick Allen Bradley off the US market. But just the prices of Allen Bradley is so crazy. And some Siemens stuff as well, in fairness. But yeah, I feel like you get much more bang for your buck going to the other less popular brands. But then you've got to learn them, and you've got the training of your staff and all that. So maybe it isn't as cheap. Biggie What's It, thank you for the follow. Good name. Can you explain a JSR instruction or a jump instruction? I never use them, Chance. Never ever in a million years would I use a jump instruction. I've had to modify programs that are just full of them. They're a total nightmare. I just don't find there's any need for a jump instruction ever. The IQR, yeah, the IQR is not cheap either. In fairness, no, you're right, Ash. You're right. Yeah, it's not the cheapest. I mean, even an FX isn't that cheap. Mitsubishi isn't cheap. So, but Schneider is. Schneider, you can get some real good controllers for not a lot of money. Right, back to this. What am I doing? Let's label some of this. This is run entry conveyor. This is what we're doing. Going sequence 2, which was stop at
Thanks for the follow.
vision sensor. Appreciate the follow. Thank you, Silas. Welcome in. Simg, thank you for the share, buddy. I really appreciate that. Stop at vision sensor. This one is... That's going into 3, so this is green object detected. Oh. This is blue object detected. Right, so then I'm going to preempt us needing 5. Insert network. We'll keep the process starting. We will... It's nothing to do with the vision sensor now. It's to do with the exit sensor. What is the exit sensor? I'm assuming it's just a digital input. Let's have a look. So, at exit, I think it's the tag. Let's have a look. So just to show you what I'm thinking at the minute. There's this sensor. You can see the red beam going across. And it goes all the way across to that reflector over there. This one, at exit.
Thanks for the follow.
Once the part has passed exit, at exit, we don't want to immediately stop the conveyor. I feel like it'll get stuck the minute we break that beam. We want to break that. We want it to only go into to basically only stop the conveyor once the part has passed the beam. I don't know actually. I think yellow means the beam is live. So at the minute that's true. It would go false the minute the part went over. Once the part had passed, it'd go positive again. So it'd be a positive edge. Appreciate all the shares. Appreciate all the follows. Thank you. Corey Coffee Cup. Welcome, mate. Is this your own solar template? No, this is a pre-made one. This is the very last one, actually. I've skipped a few. Some of them look scary, I'll be honest. As someone who isn't actually, in industrial automation itself, as in like factory automation, someone who doesn't do that, because I'm a power generation, I'm in the power generation field. Some of those look a little bit scary. There was one with like 5 elevators and a load, like a crossroads and all sorts. I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that. Especially in Siemens. So I've skipped a few. I like the look of this one. I've actually built something very, very similar. Almost identical, I would say. Using an ESP32. It was miniature. It was like maybe... I don't know. It was maybe a couple of foot long. Maybe half a meter long. I had an ESP32 on it. I got a circuit board manufactured from China. It was part of like a college project. And it sorted little plastic blocks into red, green and blue, and it looked very similar, except mine didn't. I didn't have these arms that kind of come out because I didn't have space. That was the original intention, but because I had them too close together, the chutes, they knocked into each other. I needed a longer arm than I was, I could actually manage. So I ended up going for, they were like gates that came down, but they were angled. It worked pretty well, in fairness. I think I've got a couple of videos on TikTok somewhere of it. Okay, I've rambled long enough. At exit is what I want. I want it on a positive edge. So, contact. This time it's not a normal contact, it's a positive edge contact. And I have to give it a bit. Last time we got into a bit of a mess with these bits. I'm just going to make an array of them now. So we're going to call this a one-shot. It's going to be of type array. We're going to make 9 of them. Well, 0 to 9, so 10. Of ball. That'll do us. So an array is basically just a shitload of them, all in a line. Think of it as like a list. We're going to use 1. The next time we might, we're going to use 0. The next time we might use 1. The time after we might use 2. So that's what we're going to do. So just to go back to my sequencer, I'm going to call this user memory. Oh, in fact, I probably have to actually create the bit for it first. At exit. At exit. User memory dot one shot. And we're using the 0 one. Once we do that, we can then move into 5. Hopefully, this will almost complete the actual automation of the conveyors. You've got crazy motivation to come home from work and keep doing work. You're right, Tool. When you enjoy it, it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like work. I enjoy PLC programming. I haven't done any today at work, so it's not as if I've been doing this all day and come home and done it. I've been doing drawings today. I've been making documents. I'm a design engineer, so I don't just do programming.
Thanks for the follow.
So this has mixed it up a little bit, I'll be honest. Appreciate the follow, Alex Foot and bloody hell, I can't even read that. Rares, I think. Appreciate the follow, thank you. My brain just had a meltdown trying to read your name. I'm an electrician trying to learn programming. Any advice how to learn TIA Portal? Take it slow and steady, buddy. Watch, go on YouTube and watch a creator called Hegamurl, Hegamurl. He has some unbelievable videos on TIA Portal, and he's a good teacher as well. Are you into robot programming? I'm focusing on Fanuc. I'm not, Salvador. No, I don't really do this sort of stuff. I work in power generation, so I design control panels for automating generators, automating switchgear, power management, that sort of thing, synchronizing. So that's kind of what I do in my day-to-day work. But I do have an interest for just all things controls, all things automation. Yeah. But I don't do robots. I've never touched a robot. I downloaded that, didn't I? I know I'm rambling on again. Let me just try it again. Download it and go balls deep. I wouldn't recommend that. I feel like you'll end up getting lost. You'll end up getting frustrated and you'll bin it off fairly soon. Take it slow and steady. Here's my advice. Slow and steady wins the race. Ah, shit. Why is that doing that? I thought we'd fix this. I'm going to keep it running and I'm going to watch it. What's going on? We must be jumping back to 0 again. Back to sequence 1, I think. I apologise for the sound in the background. It's still running, but I need to see what it's doing. 6. It's not this, is it?
Thanks for the follow.
Appreciate the follow, thank you. Bit of troubleshooting time. We're not jumping to 5. Or at least I'm not seeing us jump to 5. Maybe the minute we jump to 5, it's going to 1. Let me pause it, because that is annoying noise. So obviously it's happy when it's 0. When it's 0, it should go to 1. Maybe it's the fact we are going to 0. Oh, it's the vision sensor. That's not what I wanted. Right, found it. Found my fault. Yeah, thank you, Mrs. Logical Controls. Hegemel, that's right. Yeah, I found my fault. So let me just explain what the idea behind this rung is, because someone else did ask that. You know who. Sequence 1. Sequence 1 is basically just getting the entry conveyor running.
Thanks for the follow.
All sequence 1 does is start the conveyor, and we jump to sequence 2 once the vision sensor detects something. Once it detects something, depending on whether it's green or blue, we jump into sequence 3 or 4. Sequence 3 makes this arm come out, and the green, it basically means there's a green block here. It will turn on this conveyor, it will run this belt, it will turn the arm out, and the green one will come down here, and it should drop off the end. So that's sequence 3. Sequence 4 is a blue one's detected. This arm comes out, and it basically goes over, you know, it covers the rest of the conveyor, so the blue one would basically hit that and drop off down this chute. So that's sequence 3 for green, sequence 4 for blue. Sequence 5 is basically the minute the part actually crosses. I won't run it. I was gonna drag the block. Sequence 5 is when the part crosses down there, and basically we've completed one cycle. So then we'd go back to sequence 1 again, and we'd just repeat. So what I wanted to do was, my logic at the moment for starting sequence 1 is basically this vision sensor doesn't see anything. When there's nothing below the vision sensor, we go into sequence 1. The problem I was anticipating, or like earlier on, and it happened in fairness, was the minute a part's coming down here, we're in sequence 1. The minute it stops here, we go into sequence 2. But once the part left the sensor's range, it dropped back to sequence 1 again. And that's basically what's happening at the moment. So what I did was I put logic in to stop it going back to 1, which was these two here. The problem is, I wanted it to say, if we're in sequence 3 or in sequence 4, don't go back to sequence 1. What I instead did was use the wrong tag. This should be sequence. These two should say sequence, but instead they say vision sensor. So I basically just used the wrong tag. And I'm hoping by changing that to sequence, hopefully that made sense. If it doesn't, just shout and I'll try and explain it again. User memory sequence. So what I'm trying to say here is, if there's nothing in front of the vision sensor and we're not in sequence 3 or 4, then we can go to
Thanks
1.
for the follow.
So that's basically what that logic's doing. Can you use RS logics in factory IO? You can. This is my Thono, I think. You can. Factory IO has drivers for Alan Bradley. It has a driver for Logix 5000. It has a driver for Micro 800. It has a driver for Micrologix, and it has a driver for SLC 5. So you can, yeah. And it should be fairly straightforward for you. It's not like you have to use Modbus or anything. Okay, so with that being explained, that being corrected, let's download. Hopefully that won't happen again. Is sequence a memory bit? Sequence is just a register. It's just a container that we put a value in. So we're just going to chuck a number 1 into this box. These equals instructions, they are just checking what's in that box. So if I've put a 1 in, and this is checking for a 0, it's not going to allow the logic to pass through. I guess that's, I don't know the right way of explaining it, but when I look in this view, you can see these are green. So if I have a 1 in my container that's called sequence, this doesn't allow the rest of this to become green. I think that's the best way I can explain it. So in this container, we're just going to chuck in a 1. When we're done what we want to do with 1, we're going to then chuck 1 out and we're going to put a 2 in. And each time we're doing logic to basically check what's inside this container. What's inside this little cardboard box or this tray or this, what's written on this piece of paper. However you want to visualize it in your head. Is we've got a register that contains a value, and all we're doing is putting a new value in for each sequence. We're just going to move to sequence 2, we're going to move to sequence 3, and we're just putting a value in a register. And what this is doing, what these 2 bits are doing, are saying, make sure in order to put a 1 in that box, it can't have a 3 or a 4 in that box.
Thanks for the follow.
That's what we're doing there. Hopefully that made sense. I'm not the best explainer. Yeah. S-Bus ISO, thank you for the follow. This is my Thono, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Supreme Motortech, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it, guys. Hopefully that made sense. We've downloaded it, I think, already. Yes, we have. Let's restart. Let's take it out of pause. The start button still isn't quite working right. Should work now.
Thanks for the follow.
We've got a win there. This should also go down the same chute. This should go the same chute. This next one, this chute should now close. There we go. We've got it. We've got it working. Right. We've done half a job. I'll be honest. We've done half a job. So we have got a working system now. What we're not doing is we're not counting how many of these blocks have gone down. We're also, the start button isn't quite working. The stop button doesn't work at all because we haven't programmed that. We've got an auto and a manual switch. I still haven't quite got my head around why they put this in. Like, what's the reason? Is it so that if it's in auto we don't press the buttons, but if it's in manual we do? I feel like that would be the case. So I'm quite happy that it works. I feel like we should fix this now, so and we should start counting how many blocks we're using. We can also add in a third block, which is a metal block. It's not quite RGB, there is no red one, but we can add metal, green, blue. E-stop's an important one. E-stop's like the most important input you can have on any automation system ever, because that one has to stop this completely and totally, stop the system from running. And I believe it also should restart it back to like sequence 0, I guess. You basically have to press the start button again. It has to be a conscious decision to restart the process once you pull that e-stop out. So we've still got stuff to do. It's good that we've got it working, but we kind of only did half the job. Why not MATLAB Simulin though? I don't know what that is, buddy. I used MATLAB back in my university days, and I remember it being horrible and mathematical and all that stuff, and never liked it. Never used it since. This is an automation simulating software. So MATLAB, I seem to remember, was like a mathematical simulation thing where you could like make graphs and stuff. I seem to remember we had to make like a sphere turn into the shape of a rocket using math. Bruv. That just blew my mind. I remember we did it, but it was a nightmare. So I would never use MATLAB for any sort of reason ever again, to be fair. It's used for creating models, yeah, but it's mathematical models, isn't it? Is it hard to switch from PLC to DCS? I don't work in DCS, but I wouldn't have thought so, because DCS is basically just a larger, more powerful, more distributed PLC system. So I wouldn't have thought so. Okay, so we've got it definitely working. I was just making sure there wasn't any weirdness after like the first 10 or something. We had that last weekend. It is definitely working. So let's start a count. The easy one to do next is counters. And all I really need to do is count how many times I leave sequence 3 and 4, I guess. because that is basically when we've detected. No, I guess it's not when we left. Not when we leave 3 or 4.
Thanks for the follow.
What's the easiest way of doing this? I can't imagine it's very
Thanks
difficult.
for the follow.
Appreciate the follows, guys. Thank you. SN21, thank you. Who tattoo? Who tattoo? I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm sorry, but thank you for the follow.
Thanks for the follow.
Can you explain again the logic in Network 1? Network 1. That was this one. Yes. I'll try and make it a little bit simpler this time. So let me just zoom out slightly. I've zoomed out way too much there. So you can see the whole thing in one. So we've got this bit called process start. That currently doesn't really seem to be working because that is from the start button. We'll look into that as well. So if we've pressed the start button, that closes. So you basically got to follow this from left to right. That's how these things work. And each one of these, just think of it as like a gate. It's going to stop you progressing to the next stage. So we start on the left. If we've pressed the start button, this closes up and we can progress to the next one. If vision sensor is seeing 0, a 0 value from the vision sensor. So that's this physical, vision sensor on here. If that is an analog device, or it's more a digital device, I guess. It's giving us, but not a digital bit. I'm confusing you now. It's an analog device. Just think it as an analog device. If this doesn't see anything below it, like right now, this would be giving the value of 0 because there's nothing below it. So that's what this is checking for. If there's nothing below it, then we can continue. As long as we're not in sequence 3 or sequence 4. So we're not in... It sounds odd to say or when they're in series, but they're both not instructions. It's not equal to 3 and it's not equal to 4. Then we can progress, and we basically going to put a number 1 in this container that I was talking about earlier. When we've put the number 1 in, let's go back to our main. Once we've put the number 1 in the container, that's what this is checking for. Is number 1 in the container? Then we're going to start the conveyor. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's not a digital input. I definitely confuse matters there. It's not a digital. When I say digital, I mean like it's it's a device that's got a processor in it. It's got intelligence. It's giving us 0s, 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, depending on the color. I am confusing it by calling it a digital device. Ignore that. It's an analog device. Just think of it as that. It's giving us a value which isn't true or false. It is a numerical value that it's giving us. Don Gatto, thank you to follow. Appreciate that, buddy. Duan, thank you to follow. Appreciate that. Assad, thank you to follow. Callum, thank you to follow. Hopefully I haven't missed anyone else. I think that's it. Yeah. So the sequencer, we're just saying, is the start button being pressed? Yes. Is the vision sensor got nothing below it? Yes. Are we not in sequence 3? Yes, we're not in sequence 3. Are we not in sequence 4? Yes, we're not in sequence 4. Okay, now let's shove a number 1 in our box that we're calling sequence. And then once the box has a number 1, we're saying, has the box got a number 1 inside? If it has, then we're going to start the entry conveyor. No, that's fine, Rodney, that's fine. Yeah, I was confusing matter by saying it's digital. I just basically meant it's got a brain inside, it's got a processor. It's giving us a value that isn't true or false. It's giving us a numerical value. So when it is nothing beneath it, it gives a 0. When it gets a blue, if there's any sort of blue device, it will give us either a 1, a 2, or a 3 beneath it. If it sees a green beneath it, it will be a 4, a 5, or a 6. Appreciate that, Brady. Thank you, mate. Have you been on the YouTube and watched some of the lives, have you? Yeah, appreciate you saying that, mate. Dimensional scanner. Yes, so it does actually know the difference between the shapes as well as the colors. So this coming here, it knows, it will give me, I don't know all the values off the top of my head, but it's going to give me a 1, 2, or a 3. If another blue one came in this shape, So say, let's just say, for example, this one gives a 1 because it's blue and it looks like that. If this was blue, let's just imagine this is blue. It's a completely different shape. This would give us the number 2. If, you know, there's another one that's like a solid base. So that one there, say, is a number 2. Wait for the solid base one to come. So there's a, you know, another number 2. So that one there, imagine that was blue. It's green, but imagine it's blue. That would give us a 3. So it knows colour and dimensions. Appreciate that, Brady. Thank you, brother. Really, really appreciate that. So yeah, hopefully that's explained what this sensor's doing and what we're doing to basically. We don't care about the shape. We're not sorting into shapes. We could, because there are 3 different types of shapes. We could ignore colour altogether and say, right, the lids go here, the bases go here, the other shape, you know, the flat base, whatever it is, goes here. We're not. We're just going to sort into colour. We're doing green or blue at the minute. We don't care about the shape. We're just going to chuck the greens down this chute and the blues down this chute. And what we're doing to achieve that is in our sequencer, as I've sort of labelled up, we have network 3. So if it's a green, we're going to basically set that arm to come out in the middle. If it's a blue, we're going to set the arm to come out at the front, at the right hand side, this side here. Hopefully that's explained it a little bit. I'm terrible at explaining things. I do apologise. Bama, thank you. Bama Mike, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Marquez, thank you for the follow. Also, thank you for sharing the live, mate. Really appreciate that. Linus, thank you for following as well. I'm a control tech right now, and this is very helpful. Appreciate that, Sad. Thank you. Right, so we've got some stuff to do. I need to set the counters. We're not counting at the minute. I'm trying to think in my head of the easiest way to do it. We obviously have... who's that? Wearies, thank you. Appreciate that, brother. Thank you to heart me. Dala. We have our sequence 3. We have our sequence 4. So we know when we've got a blue or we've got a green. The problem is you can't... Do we just count it at that point? I feel like you ought to really count it once it's left. That, in my opinion, that's when you should. It will be more difficult to do that. Or will it? No, it won't. It won't. I'm gonna do some latching. That's what I'm gonna do. So let's add a new block for this, just for the countings, just because I don't want to overwhelm you with all this logic we're putting in. Let's just do a new program that will run sequentially afterwards. So we're going to call this the counter program or something. I don't know. Call it what you want. So this is a nice fresh program.
Thanks for the follow.
Appreciate the follow. Thank you. Try, I think. You should count once it's in the box. I agree, Hennock. I do believe we should do that. Use the outputs from your move statements.
Thanks for
The problem is if I do that, once we move to the next sequence, you know, depending on where it's green or blue, it hasn't actually left yet. And if we were to count then, it's not, you know, you're counting too early, really. You're right, we would know exactly how many blues and greens we've got, but it hasn't actually left the conveyor yet. I feel like once it's in the box, that's when you count. So that's what we're going to do. And to do that, I feel like I can use those sequences. I just need to latch it up. And when I delatch it on exit, that's when I count. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. Okay, mate. No problem, buddy. At least you're not working tonight. You got called out last week, didn't you? Appreciate you coming, the engineer. Appreciate the gift, mate, as usual. You're my top gifter by far, by the way, just to let you know. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate it. Every week you're in.
Thanks for the follow.
And you're now mod as well. T96, thank you to follow. Right, so counters then. I haven't quite worked out how I want to do this, but I'm going to do some form of latch. You'll find, by watching me, I love latches. I use latches all the time. I feel like they're one of the main bases of programming. Let me zoom in as well. T96 Evangeline, I think. Appreciate the roses, thank you. And I still need to sort it so it only makes the tune once. I haven't got around to that yet. Right, so we're going to latch it up. But I don't feel like it's going to be like this because I feel like it's going to use the sequence, which is an analog value. So to do this, Ash, did you send me some stuff? Have I missed that? You're on that leaderboard. I definitely have missed it. I do apologise by the looks of it. Sorry guys, one sec. You haven't, but you're on the leaderboard somehow. Okay, so let me go to the counters. We're going to latch it up. I just need to get it in my head when's the best time and how do we do that. So if we go into sequence 3, we know it's a green object. I feel like we just need to latch up sequence 3, delatch it on sequence 5. That would add the count. So sequence 5 is once it's left. Once the block has left the conveyor. Sequence 3 is when it's green. By using the information on those two, we would be able to count up and know that it's green. Let me... a sequencer, that's the one I want, I think. No, OB1, the main. Let's copy that for now. I'm going to put that in there. So if we're in sequence 3 and let's say we're not in sequence 5. Yeah, we're not in sequence 5. Yeah. I might need to work this out once or twice. So put that in there. Just bin that off. Because I was just showing you the latch, but it's actually going to be an analog value. That's what's going to be comprised of. So not 5. Let's make that not 3 and not 5. We need a new memory bit, which we're going to call. We're going to call this increase green count. I'm going to add another one called increase blue count. They're not arrays, they are actually just booleans. I've still got it as an array, I don't want it as that. Let's delete all that out. Bool. Okay. So this is going to be increase green. User memory increase green. I'm going to latch it up. User memory increase green. So I think when we do a negative edge, so when it actually delatches, that's the point when we count. So we're going to call this green object latch. The next one's going to be green object count. We'll put a contact in here.
Follow.
We're going to call this one increase green. But we're going to make this a negative edge. And we need to use another one-shot bit that we have in our array. Excuse me, I do apologise. We're going to pull in a counter. And we just want a count up. We don't really need a count down as well. We're going to call this green counter. The reset will actually be the reset button. It's just called reset, I believe. The PV, we're going to need to give it, we're going to need a bit of memory to store the count in. So we need another container, another box that we're going to store the value of the count in. And that's what this is going to be. So we're going to call this, the actual counter was called green count. So let's just call it green count. It's bad naming. I'm going to do it as that, but it's really bad naming. You shouldn't. You shouldn't have names like this. That's that's too bad. I can't have that. That's green counter. Let's call it number of green or something. Yeah. Number of green blocks. That wants to be a integer. So an integer is a whole number. A Boolean is on or off. It's a digital bit. It's got two states, on or off, true or false, high or low. Integer can be 0, can be 1, could be 100, could be 1,000. Yeah, so that's the difference between that. You'd make a count struct. So counting as struct, and then green and blue as members. Oh, that sounds a good idea, Jordsky. It's a good idea. I'm just going to follow through with what I'm doing at the moment. I don't want to break my train of thought at the minute, but I do like the idea of that. How much different is programming from Siemens and Alan Bradley? To Louis, I'm not entirely sure, buddy. I don't really work with Alan Bradley at all, ever. I'm still fairly new to Tier Portal. I don't know the differences. It's not something I can answer, but one of the other guys in the chat might be able to answer. If anyone works with Alan Bradley and Siemens, let him know. You've been doing AB and you've been trying to understand the Siemens program, but get somewhat lost. To be fair, that's probably just my explaining that's getting you lost. If there's anything that you're not fully understanding, just let me know and I'll try and explain that. Isn't that range 0 to 65,000? So it's an int. I think it's minus 32 to plus 32. You do, but you wasn't listening. Louis was asking is there much difference between the two programming, between Alan Bradley and Siemens programming? I don't know because I don't do Alan Bradley. So it's an int. I think a uint would be 0 to 65,000 if they do uints. Yeah, so a uint would be 0 to 65,000. Jorgen, maybe. An int actually is has the most significant bit represents a minus. So you can have minus 32,000 to plus 32,000. I'm not going to get anywhere near that high, so I'll just stick with an int. It's fine. Jordsky, you started Mitsubishi at 16. You were a young starter. I don't think I started when I was about 20, I think. You're doing Siemens now, but you don't know AB. Yeah, I don't know AB at all, really. Like I said, I did do... I mentioned this earlier on. I did the Paul Lin course on PLC Dojo. That was pretty good. But it was in... what do they call it? What's the software called? It wasn't in 5000 Studio. It wasn't in Studio 5000. It was Studio 500. It's a bit older, and it was using rather than labels, it was using device. What's the word? Device memory. I think it was using B's and I's and N's and stuff like that. Rather than labels. Number of blue blocks. I've got distracted again. I do apologise. Blue blocks. That's another int. So we now place that in here. So we've got a green counter, which triggers on the negative edge of increased green count, which is this here. I believe that should work. I believe so. In my head, that I'm feeling like that's going to work. Let's do the same for blue. Again, should be function blocking this. You shouldn't ever copy and paste, or at least you should try and limit it, because mistakes get made. I'm terrible for making those mistakes of not changing all the bits, but it is what it is. I don't want to go into function blocks tonight. Maybe tomorrow. 4, 5, not 5. Increase blue count. Green exit conveyor. That wasn't right. That wasn't right. Why was that? So I made a mistake anyway, but I've caught it by copy and pasting. So there's an argument for copy and pasting. So that that coil should have had that contact, and it didn't. So let's do the same again. This wants to be increase blue count. Then we're going to add another counter. I won't copy and paste the counter because I got in trouble with that last time. Let me just pull it in. I need a new network. Never mind. We're coming to the end now, guys. We are coming to the end. I've still got a little bit to do, though. Counter up. We're going to call this the blue counter. RS 500 bit-based addressing. Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at, Beans. It's not like label addressing or tags, I guess you would call it. It was like, you know, the actual physical inputs, and then there was Bs. It's the same way Mitsubishi used like M0, D500, all that sort of stuff. But there was no option for labels in that software. Yeah, so that's the blue latch. That was the green object count. This is the blue object count. We're coming to the end. For anyone who didn't see it, we have actually got this working already. So the stuff does work. We just got to do the count. So it is sorting between green and blue. We just aren't counting those sorting bits. So let's finish this off. I want a negative edge. I know I said don't copy and paste, but it's just the quickest way to get through it. Increase blue count. We want to change that to 2. The PV wants to be, I can't even remember what I called it now. User memory, number of something. User memory, number of blue blocks. I think that's it. Oh, I need to do a couple of move commands because it's not actually going to the meter itself. So those little readout meters, I guess, are those two. Counter 1, counter 2. Counter 1's blue because that's going down chute number 1. So counter 1 is blue. Let's do a move command. There was an always on bit. I can't remember what it was now. I had to enable it, didn't I? The always on bit had to be enabled in the device configuration. I'm getting there. I'm learning some stuff. Sint equals 16. Sint is a short int, I think, isn't it? Oh, signed int. You would just call that an int, though, surely. Yeah, unsigned int is 65. A signed integer is minus 32 to plus 32 something. I don't know. I don't remember numbers like that. I'll just put 2 to the power of 16 in, and then, you know, divide it by 2 if I wanted to know. And then minus 1, I think, as well. Okay, so I need to enable the always on bit. That's what I'm looking for at the moment. Device configuration. Do I double click on this? I think. Yes, I do. It's under... It's in here somewhere, and I always miss it. It's up the top somewhere. Not that, not that. System and clock memory, that's it. So I need to enable that, which I can't do while I'm online. Thing is, I don't even know if I do actually need to do this. But this is what I'm used to. If I ever wanted to do just like a move command, I would have like an always on bit in Mitsubishi. So I've enabled that. Do I need to apply it or anything? I don't think I do. Go online. I can drag that right down now. Download. Appreciate the follow. Thank you to CFO. Thank you. Appreciate that. Load. Bit M0.0. I think it is Jordski. I think it is. But you do have to enable it for unknown reasons in Siemens. So back to my counter. Unless you can just do like a move command without having a bit in. But you definitely can't do this in Mitsubishi. Let me try it.
Thanks for the follow.
I want to move my user memory number of green blocks into counter 2. Is it count 2? That one there. I'm 99% certain you can't do that in Mitsubishi. It needs a contact on the left. Let me compile that. Does it kick off? It doesn't. It's quite happy for you to do that. So what you would do in Mitsubishi is you would do you would have a bit M0.0, I think. Oh, 1.2. There we go. So you have a bit which is always on, regardless, no matter what. It's just constantly on. It's constantly a 1. In Mitsubishi, you have to do it that way. It doesn't seem like you have to do that in Siemens. I've learned something there. JC Shop 0, thank you. Appreciate it for the follow. Right.
Thanks for the
Appreciate
follow.
everyone who's liked, by the way. Thank you for that. We're at 23k likes. Really, really appreciate that, guys. In ladder, placing the move doesn't require a bit. That's interesting in Siemens. The EN is always true now. No extra bit needed. SM401 is always off. I never use always off really, unless I use always off if I've put in like test scripts or something. If I put some logic in just for simulation or testing, and then I want to not use that for a while, but I still want it to be there in case I want to turn it back on. But it's part of like, yeah, it basically just disables logic for you, doesn't it? G Yan, I think. Appreciate the follow, buddy. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Right, let's give that a run. Let's give that a run. So, start button. The start button is working. It detects green. It goes into the middle. It shouldn't give me a 1 until it's come off. It's not giving me a 1 whatsoever. Interesting. Why not? Did I not map it or something? It should be there. Let's watch it. Always true. Always true doesn't seem to be true. Why is that? We're not getting that far anyway, so you don't need to worry about that for now. This isn't counting. It's gone on. Goes to off. No, my reset's not true. Counts at 7. Oh, PV, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I realise why now. I realise why now. So, yeah. I have this battle quite a lot. It's not to do with the compile. Well, it could be to do with the compile, but the PV is the preset value. In my mind, I was thinking it's the count value, and it isn't. That needs setting. That doesn't need to be there. That doesn't need to be there at all. And that one's actually setting to like 10,000. It doesn't really count unless you have something in there. Or at least that's what I found. And in here, I don't need user memory. I need... I get it now. I realised my mistake. I need green counter dot CV count value to go in there. That's what I want. Yeah. We have these moments. We have these moments. Don't worry. Always true didn't seem to... Excuse me. Didn't seem to work. I'm going to take that out. Jesus. Right. I feel like that will work now. That's the blue counter. We're only moving the green at the minute. Let's just move... I don't know if you need a new network or it could just go below it, but we'll do this. This wants to be move counter 1. And we want that to be blue counter CV. If anyone's not following along, just shout out and I'll try to explain what I'm doing. Let's compile that now. It's all happy, no warnings. Let's download. I feel like this should work now. Retro Haze, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it, buddy. Got 56 people in here. How's everyone doing tonight? If anyone is getting lost at any point, just let me know. Right, that should work now, I believe. The start button was already latched in. So that should go into the middle. And only when it comes up... Oh, my counters are not working. How's... I need a one-shot. I need a one-shot. I thought the negative edge would have covered that. But it hasn't. So what I need... Unless it's going off more than once. Once we go into sequence 3, it doesn't delatch until we get into sequence 5. I feel like we just need a one shot. I'm going to try that. So what was happening there was the count was increasing by quite a lot. That should cover it, but maybe it doesn't in Siemens. Unless I've got another issue, but I'm going to go down this route. So I need a rising trigger. That's what I need. Where does that live, though? Are you able to search in Siemens? Can you search for instructions? I want a rising trigger, but I can't find it. R-Trig, I imagine it would be called. R-Trig, found it. There we go. Let's just call this green count one shot. Clock. I'm just going to leave that for now. I'm not sure what it's asking for there. I know I can press F1, but I don't want to start rooting through manuals while I'm on... oh, P-Trig. P-Trig, you're right. P-Trig, positive trigger, not... what's R-Trig then? P and N. R... Is that reset? And I don't know, what's R and F? Can you explain how the counter is allowed to count up despite the first rung staying latched? Yes, 1 second. Yeah, that looks better. That's what I was looking for. So I want user memory. Just 1 second, and I will try and explain what I've done here. Where did we get up to? Let's put 3 in for now. There's 2. There's 1. Let me double check. Does it tell you whether it's used or not in here? Doesn't look like it. Clock is the memory bit. Yeah, I mean the other one looked a bit strange, but this one looks more like what I want. I don't think the counter needs all this complexity. I'll explain it all in a second. I will explain it all. The problem is, right, I'll explain from the beginning. Let's jump right back. So, you could count as soon as you detect a green block or a blue block. You can do that. But that's not quite right, is it? Because you want to be counting how many you are putting in these boxes, containers, whatever. You want to know the colour and when it's in the box. That's what we've put the added complexity in for. I know it seems a lot. There probably is easier ways of doing it, but in my mind, this is what I'm thinking in a minute. So once it's detected whether it's green or blue, that's not the time to count. You need to remember that it's green or blue, which is what the latch is for, and only count once it's crossed over the red line, over the exit sensor. So that's what that logic's doing. The problem I was just having then is it was counting way too many times. Now that could be a problem in my logic, but I occasionally come across this, and it just basically needs a P-Trig, a rising edge. It just needs to count once. No problems, Ash. I'm sure you're busy, mate. Don't worry. Yeah, what I was asking, Ash, if you know, does it tell me somewhere when I've used these arrays? I lose track. I know it's because I'm doing it in a shite way, but yeah, I can't remember if I've used 3 already or not. Without raking through my program. I don't see it anywhere else. Cross-reference. Jodski as well, thank you. Appreciate that, buddy. Right, so cross-reference there. I believe that means it's only used in one place. Yeah. Oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. Yeah, so that's what this... To go back and it basically explain it, this is basically remembering whether it's a green or a blue. That's what these latches are for. It's a bit of a memory. I could, I guess, use an array or something instead, but this is how I'm doing it. And it's when I delatch it, using that bit there, that's when it counts. Because we've got this negative edge contact. So when this goes off, that momentarily goes on. But the problem is, I feel like it might go on for... In Mitsubishi, that'll only go on for one scan cycle. I assume it would be the same here, but it didn't quite seem to work there. So I'm going to put this in as a bit of belt and braces, this P-trig. And that'll at least allow me to eliminate that as being a possibility. Eliminate the fact that the contact might go over more than one scan cycle. It tells you read, write, call, etc. I didn't look at it very long. It's my fault. I'm getting tired now, you see. Question would be, what if you have two same green boxes going by the vision sensor? How does the count? It delatches after every time the box leaves, so then it would relatch for the next green one. I'll show you it once I get it working. I'll try and explain it a bit better.
Thanks for the follow.
Forgotten already. Did I actually even write that down? Appreciate the follow, Stone. Thank you, buddy. Hope you're well tonight. Right, so that's definitely ready. Let's run that now. Press our start button. Press our start button. Hello. This is my PLC not in run. Have I broke something? I've broke it. What's going on? Main OB. Process run is going. What sequence are we in? Appears to be in sequence 3 for some reason. There's something funny going on. Restart. I broke something by accident. I don't know what though. We're going into sequence 3 every time. Which I'm confused about because we wasn't even working in that. Can set the time real slow. Is it that? Have I... I've deleted it by accident. That's what's wrong, I think. Vision sensor. Right. Cycle power. Turn it off and on again. Nah, I think I must have fat thumbed it. Let's run that now. Oh no, maybe not, maybe not. I'm confused now. Cycle power. Maybe I need to. Maybe I need to. I'm totally confused as to what's happened there. Let me save it. Go offline. Turn off. File, save. Scenes, sorting station. I can get this running again real quick. 1 sec. I feel like I've done something in my logic by accident though. Yeah, I have. I've definitely have. It's something I've done, but I'm not entirely sure what. I've done it by accident. PLC not in run mode.
Thanks for the
Did anyone
follow.
see me do something? Count up since the wrong one is latched and sequence 5 isn't engaged. Well, I'm less bothered about the counter at the moment. It's more the whole sequence has bust itself. Process start isn't on. Yet we're somehow in 3. I'm confused. Hey buddy, what do you do for a living? I am a design engineer, so I design control panels and I design low voltage switchgear, so big switchboards and that sort of thing, even small stuff, all totally bespoke, custom things. Let's see if we can write a 0 into that. Should that work? It has gone to 0 now. I'm still confused as to why it wasn't in 0. Yeah, so I'm a design engineer, but as part of designing, I also do programming. And no idea, guys. No idea what happened there. Single line diagrams, I do, buddy. Yes, I do. Yeah, I have no idea what happened there. It got stuck in sequence 3 and wouldn't come out of it or something. TikTok's telling me I'm inactive. I'm back. Let's look at our counter. Yeah, there's something wrong with the count. 14. That did count. 15. 16. It's working. Well, I don't get why the count was so high. Let's keep an eye on it for a little while. Do you have a YouTube that you can teach us? I put the whole live stream on YouTube. I'll probably do it tomorrow. So this entire live stream, if you've missed any of it and wanted to see it all from start, from scratch, it'll be on YouTube tomorrow. As well as all my previous lives as well. So this is like the 3rd or 4th, maybe even 5th Factory IO project we've done. And I'm slowly getting better with the Siemens stuff. Slowly. I mean, unless I'm mistaken, those counters are working right.
Thanks for the follow.
It just seemed odd they were so high, but maybe they were just left in from the previous time. 21. That should go to 22. And it only counts once it leaves the conveyor. So that's the that's working for me. I like that. Should probably initialize your counter very well. So if I press this button, it should reset. It's only resetting one at the moment though. I should reset both with that. But it does look like it's working. In fact, let me stop it because it can get a bit annoying in the background. Let's do that. Let's add the reset button to the other counter as well. So the reason for all the complication, all of this stuff, was because we didn't want to count until it had left the conveyor. Like I said, there's probably way better ways of doing it, but that's just what came to mind at the time. So my counters themselves, that reset wants to be, funnily enough, reset. That's the button. That's the name of the tag for the button. Okay. What else I want to add is start, stop. Did that actually ever work? I can't remember if it actually worked or not. So does my stop button stop the conveyor? It does. Hey, appreciate that. Min Lee, thank you. Or Min Lei, possibly. I appreciate that. I think pressing the stop button is what is causing me grief. Doesn't quite work right. So when we press the stop button, I'm thinking we need to
Thanks for the follow.
Just go back to the start, possibly. San, I think. San 13. San S at N. Appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. Thank you for the rose. Okay. Let's forget the stop button for now. I just want to put the emergency stop in. That's all I want to do at this point.
Thanks for the follow.
So for the emergency stop, what we're going to do is we're going to put that in here. I don't know whether that's a normally open or a normally closed. It does. So it's closed at the moment. So it's a normally closed contact that when we push, it opens. We push it, it opens. So it's a normally open in the logic. emergency stop. I'm going to put that in there, but as well as that, the emergency stop also wants to totally reset everything. And it would be a manual process to pull any boxes off that are still on the conveyor at that point. I want to go to the sequencer. And we want to go back to 1. ISFWNI, appreciate the heart me, thank you, really appreciate it. So let's put this in here, emergency stop. Again, I'm doing stuff that I wouldn't normally do, so normally I map all my inputs to actual variables. Jordski, if you've already gone, thanks for coming in, mate. I missed it. I'm in the zone now. We're near the end. Emergency stop. I just want to bypass all of that, basically. And this is just like a logical one. In real life, you would have it actually turn power off onto the motors and stuff like that. It would disconnect power from basically anything. But this is to basically stop the program, to allow it to fresh restart. Henok, in the simulation, the button itself is normally closed. So the actual contact is closed when it's not pressed. You press it, it would then open. So in my logic, let me make sure I'm getting this right. No, you're right, I think. It's normally closed.
Thanks for the follow.
No, you're right. There's double negatives going on here. Let me think about it. No, in that one there wants to be open. That one does want to be open. I think this other one wants to be normally closed. Let me think about this. When it's healthy, it's closed. That's open. Yeah, that's right. This is right. It has to be normally closed because for 40 wiring, it also has to stop the machine. Yeah, no, I understand the reasons why you've got to have it normally closed, but because it's a normally closed contact, you've got to think about it in the other way for the normally open that I've done. I think this one wants to be normally closed because when it's healthy, this would be open, which I'd want. I'll show you. It's easier just to download it and show you. So at the minute, the emergency stop button isn't pressed, and you can see this is active. This is basically not allowing. Well, once I press the start button, you'll be able to see. So when it's basically not allowing it to pass through here. What I want to do is when I bash that emergency stop, I want it to go back to sequence 1. So that's working, and this the start has gone off by smashing the button. That's what this was doing. This one here. So when the system is healthy, it would just allow the logic to pass through there. So by pressing start, I mean, it's all gone peak-tong. Like I said, in an emergency stop situation, there'd be a manual process in order to clear it all. And that's interesting how that's not gone off. Why hasn't that gone off? Sequencer. We're in 1. Ah, interesting. We never. That's why it only works sometimes. We need this contact here to be in here. Might not be able to do that online. Yeah, that's better. I mean, if you want to watch my streams enough, Poeli, I think. They're all on YouTube, buddy. They're all on YouTube. So anything you missed tonight, it'll be all up there. So let me just restart this again.
Thanks for the follow.
Press start, press E-stop, everything stops. That's good. Press start again. Press stop again. Can't start it while it's pushed in. Can you guys see that okay? So I'm pushing the start button, but this is already pushed in. So let's take it out now. It hasn't automatically restarted. That's good. That you don't want that to happen. This has to be a manual, conscious thing that you're going to restart this. Press start. All goes again. That didn't work, did it? So there's a timing. I'm not going to change that tonight, but there was a timing thing by starting and stopping with them all a little bit too close. There was an issue. Let's reset both my counters. Yeah, we got a green one that got flung off when our E stopped. However, I'm quite happy that is kind of working. I feel like if it was in real life, I'd probably do a bit more work and make sure that sort of thing didn't happen. But obviously, in real life, you haven't got a continuous feed every time there's a space of blocks. Maybe you would actually, but you'd maybe have a barrier here to stop, you know, to keep the space consistent. Yeah, so apart from that one, which we can chuck in the bin, that works pretty well. We've got start stop control, we've got e-stop control, the reset button works. The only thing we didn't do was manual auto, but really there's not a lot to add that either. The counters work, so I could say it's pretty consistently working. 123, thank you for the follow, appreciate that, buddy. You can make a killing off this type of work. I do this for a living. Yeah, Marcel, I know you can. I don't actually do this type of work for my living though. So the industrial factory automation type stuff, that's not really what I do. So it's been interesting to be able to do these live streams and do it in Factory.io. Factory.io is a great software. So I'm continuously learning Siemens as I go, which was kind of the objective of all of this. Was this works with Siemens quite easily. If I hook this up to Siemens, I can start using Siemens and learn more and more about it, because I'd normally use Mitsubishi or Schneider. Yeah, it's all kind of working well. John, appreciate the follow, thank you. Automation electrician, you do aerospace controls, nice. Factory.io is this software. It is, Henok, yeah, it's called Factory.io. Alan Bradley's good too. I don't use Alan Bradley, to be fair, mate. Yeah, so I work in power generation. I design control panels for generators, hydro turbines, basically anything. G99 panels for like grid utility disconnection, that sort of thing. I design switchgear, LV switchboards and that sort of thing. I do HV generation controls. That's kind of my bag. So this factory automation stuff is all quite different and all quite new to me. But it's fun, I enjoy it. And I get to, I guess, explain my thought process and how I would go about programming it. Although, like I say, I do have bad habits on the live streams of doing things not the way I would do it at work, just because I'm conscious about time, and I just start copy and pasting to speed things up a bit. Maybe tomorrow I'll look into function blocks, and I can show off how function blocks bring about a lot of power. It's a lot of working smarter, not harder. Yeah, I think we'll maybe look at that tomorrow. How do I actually get into this? I study industrial engineering. I guess if you actually, you want to do this as a job, you've got to work in either a factory doing the maintenance of this stuff, or you've got to work for like a system integrator who design and build this stuff. I guess they're the two routes that I would suggest. Yeah. Is it difficult to learn PLC programming? It's not difficult, Tim. It just requires time, I guess. Like anything. You could learn Japanese if you spent, through enough time at it. It would be difficult, but it just requires a lot of time. Yeah. PLC programming is a language, almost. You're speaking in... It depends what kind of language you're used to, though. This is a graphical language. We could do it in structured text, which is a text-based language, which is, like... It's not similar to Python or C, but it's that kind of thing. It's a text-based language. We could do it in function block diagram, which is AND gates, OR gates, NOT gates, NOR gates, NAND gates, that sort of thing. Yeah, there's multiple languages for PLC programming. FB is Siemens. What was that in relation to, Ash? I'm not sure. What about high voltage control boards? No, I don't do like electronics. I design industrial control panels, mate. Yeah, and when I say high voltage control, I'm talking about
Thanks for
high
the
voltage
follow.
switchgear, high voltage generators, high voltage main supplies. That's the kind of thing. Power management, synchronizing. That's all the kind of stuff that I do. Oliver Johnson, thank you to follow. Appreciate that. Do you do ABB? Do you do speed regulator for hydroelectric power stations? I don't, mate. No. ABB stuff, I use their ACBs, their MCCBs. I use their contactors. You know, a lot of their control devices. I control their ACBs and VCBs when it's high voltage circuit breakers. Don't really get involved with the speed regulators and stuff. No, we control usually with a hydraulic pack. So there's hydraulic pistons and that sort of thing that are turning this, activating the spear valves and all that sort of thing. Yeah, but there's no, don't do speed regulators for power stations. So you make the panel and you do the programming. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Kara Tekaris, I think. Kara, I'll call you Kara. That's basically what I do. It's not a game, buddy. It's a simulation software called Factory IO. I do have a problem where if I stop it while it's in a sequence, it doesn't reset. But that would be a 2 minute to solve it. Yeah, so it's a simulation software. It's not really a game. I guess you could think of it as a game. I think, to be fair, I think it started off life as a game and they realised they could make a shit ton of money selling it to industry. So, do we find the vid in YouTube? Henok, if you go in my bio on TikTok, you'll find a link there and it shows all my social media and YouTube will be in there. So tomorrow, this entire live will be in there. Yeah. I think I'm going to call it a night there, guys. I'm pretty tired now. For me, it is nearly 11:15 at night, so PM. It's quite late. Frags, welcome back, mate. I haven't seen you throughout the live, so I'm assuming you've just joined. Appreciate you being here once again. I'm starting to recognise some names. Yeah, we got it working. We didn't do the manual auto, but never mind. There is a slight issue with pausing it while it's in the middle of a sequence. It doesn't reset itself, but again, I could sort that out. It's not the end of the world. Kara, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate that. Have you bought a complete license for Factory IO? Yes, Chris, I have. Yes. Let's just say yes, okay? Yeah, appreciate everyone coming tonight. Again, I will be live tomorrow from about 8:30 UK time, which was about the same as tonight. If you don't know what time it is, just put it into Google. It'll tell you, what is 8:30 UK, 8:30 PM UK time in my area or whatever. Yeah, so I will be back on tomorrow, and I think we'll look at function blocks. I feel like that's the next step. Can you work in the UK? I don't know, mate. you tell me. Can you work in the UK? There's all sorts of stuff, visas and stuff you'd have to get to work in the UK. Chris Days, you are 100% correct. I watched Hegemerl. Don't know if you know Hegemerl on YouTube. I watched him do this in Graph the other day. It looked great. It looked really easy. It looked perfect for the job. However, I don't know Graph. I would have to learn it, and I thought it'd be a little bit too soon and a little bit too early for me to try and do this in Graph when I don't know it. I'd be bumbling through, making mistakes. It wouldn't work. So I did it in Ladder because I know Ladder best. I could have done it in structured text. I could have probably done it in function block diagram. But Ladder is the one I know best, and I know at some point I would get it working. So yeah. Yeah, Chris, he done this the other night. Yeah, it was really good. Very simple to use, just like flow diagram instructions. I'm just not used to it, buddy. I don't use that sort of thing at work. My job role doesn't require me to ever use sequences to that sort of level and use Graph. I'm also still very new to Siemens Tier Portal myself. So, yeah. That's just the reason why. At some point I'll pick it up, just not yet. Graph is easy. It's easy if you know it, I guess. You know, it's like anything. I could say something's very easy to me, but it might be very difficult to you. Yeah, I just haven't ever learned it. Haven't ever needed a reason to learn it. At some point I will learn it. You're a controls guy at a car factory in the UK. We use it everywhere. Yeah, I think, you know, factory automation in general uses a lot of sequences, but that's not the field I work in, so I've never really needed to. Show me the something where you made it by color, please. The sequence.
Thanks for the follow.
Sequencer. Stop at vision sensor. Great. So this is the 2 bits of ladder that detect whether it's green or blue, and it's basically 1, 2, and 3, depending on the shape. 1, 2, and 3 are always blue. So we're not doing it by shape this time. We're just doing it by color. So this one here, if the sensor's giving 1, 2, or 3, we go into sequence 4. If the sensor is giving 4, 5, or 6, we go into sequence 3. Can you make your own microcomputer like Raspberry Pi? No. I've never done it. Probably never will do it. No. No. I use Arduinos and I've used Raspberry Pis and all that sort of thing, but I've never made one. Yeah, so I think I'm going to call it a night there, guys. I appreciate everyone who's come along. Anyone who has missed the live or wants to watch the live in full, it will be on my YouTube tomorrow. The link is in my bio if you want to go and see that. I've also got an Instagram. I'd be really appreciated if you could go and follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok, obviously, here. And also I've got a Discord where I upload all the files from this live stream. So if you wanted to, if you have Factory IO and Tia Portal and you wanted to play along and see how I've done things and decipher what I've done, I put all the files in my Discord at the end of the live stream. So the file for Factory IO and the file for Tia Portal will both be in my Discord. Appreciate everyone coming. Appreciate all the follows. We've had a lot today. Appreciate all the likes. 26k is pretty good. And appreciate all the gifts as well for everyone who's gifted. Cheers, Ash. Thank you, mate. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining as well, buddy. Yeah. Good night, everyone.